Hello, welcome to episode 2 of the Horse with No Name podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Sight and Sound Theaters. Located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Sight and Sound is a proud sponsor of Charger Athletics. Go beyond entertainment with Sight and Sound. Every show is an epic experience with a meaningful message. Surround yourself with uplifting Bible stories brought to you in jaw-dropping scale by a world-class cast, spectacular special effects, and live animals. You can visit the tickets tab at LBCChargers.com to find out more information and make a reservation today. Partial proceeds from your purchase support Charger Athletics. I actually saw Jonah a few weeks ago with my wife and son. It's awesome. So if you get a chance to head out there before October 14th, I think it is, you should definitely go out and check out Jonah. The Miracle of Christmas is coming in a few weeks as well through the end of the year. And then starting in March, the production of Jesus will begin there at Sight and Sound Theaters, which should be a great show as well. Been a bit of a slow week here in Lancaster. Not too many games being played, and the rain the other day disrupted one of the men's soccer games as they were supposed to play at Penn State Harrisburg. Each team just played once this week, and cross country is actually off on Saturday. We'll get to that in just a moment. Because there are no weekend games this week because of departmental retreats for each major. Those are specifically for freshmen and first-year students for the most part. And each year, the second weekend of September is an off weekend for all of our teams due to those departmental retreats. So with no games in the second week of September here, we usually get going pretty busy here by the end of September and into October with conference play. In the games that were played this week, if you haven't had a chance to check the website at LBCChargers.com, it's been a pretty good week. Good results for all the teams, despite the fact the women's soccer team lost. A better result and better play, according to head coach Allie Brown. Those teams are turning it up a notch. It's nice to see that they're bringing their A game a bit more here as we get used to everyone's getting used to their new teammates, things like that. The LBC women's volleyball team did win their first match of the season. They defeated Karen on Wednesday night in Langhorne, PA, that 3-0 score. The Chargers had 39 kills in the match, but also 23 errors, something head coach Jackie Smith was a bit concerned about, but feels as though the offense will be there towards the end of the year as we progress through the year. And she was really happy with the team's grit and energy coming off of a long weekend where they played 3 matches in 2 days. The LBC women's soccer team did drop its third straight game to begin the season. They're 0-3 now. But the Chargers did play better, specifically in the second half against Alvernia. Junior Kirsten Hatch scored the first goal of the year for the Chargers, that coming in, I think, the 81st minute on an assist from Reagan Horst. Horst assists her 50th point of her career. So she joins 13 other players in program history that have had 50 points in their collegiate career. So congratulations to Reagan Horst on eclipsing the 50-point mark. The LBC men's soccer team won yesterday afternoon in Clark Summit, beating the defenders 4-1. 4 different goal scores for the Chargers. Freshman Rama Mugisha scored again, his second of the year. Eddie Bills, senior, scored his first of the year, also added an assist. And Caleb Nelson continues to score well for the Chargers as he added his third goal of the year. And then freshman Brandon Taylor, another great addition, scoring his second goal of the year as the Chargers defeated the defenders 4-1. Bills with the assist and the goal, 3 points now. He's climbing the all-time list in both goals and points. He's right around 20 for both. I believe he's 17th now in goals. So the collegiate career of Eddie Bills is in his final year. He continues to move up that list. He's been a very good player for the Chargers for 3+ years now. LBC, though, has defeated the defenders 6 straight times now. They haven't lost to Clark Summit since 2011. So the Chargers, as of right now, anyway, this year included, have Clark Summit's number. They probably will not play them again this year, barring something crazy happening in the NCAA tournament. But the Chargers do own 6 straight wins now against Clark Summit. Clark Summit's still definitely ahead in the all-time series from those years in the 80s and 90s, and even in the early 2000s as well. But the Chargers certainly gaining a few more wins in that category. Like we said before, in case you missed any of these games or you want to read more about the games that we just mentioned, you can visit our LBC Athletics website, www.lbcchargers.com. Next week, as we move into next week, it's a big week here for the Chargers. The men's and women's soccer teams continue their non-conference schedule, while the women's volleyball team begins NEAC play. They'll take on Bryn Athyn and Penn State Berks on Monday and Tuesday, respectively, both of those matches on the road. The men's soccer team plays just once next week, but it's one of their bigger games of the year as they host Cairn on Tuesday afternoon here at Charger Field. That game's at 1:30. Chargers are just 12-42-7 all time against the Highlanders, and just 1-3-4 in Tommy Hart's head coaching career here in Lancaster, including a 2-1 loss last season at Langhorne, a tough game for the Chargers last year in Langhorne. The teams last played in Lancaster in 2015. The game ended in a 1-1 tie in double overtime. The Chargers' last win against Cairn came in 2014. That was a 2-0 victory down in Langhorne. The LBC women's soccer team will play twice next week, both of them against very good opponents. The Chargers will host Lancaster County neighbor Franklin and Marshall on Tuesday. That's a 4 o'clock match. And they will host Houghton on Saturday at 1 o'clock. So 2 more non-conference tough opponents for LBC as they play one of the tougher schedules around this year for non-conference, including tough matches against some of the better teams from the MAC, the Centennial, also the Capital Athletic Conference, and Houghton in the Empire 8. The Chargers lost to both F&M and Houghton last year, dropped a 1-0 decision to Franklin and Marshall over at F&M last year on a late goal. That was a night game, if I recall, and the Chargers let one kind of slip away there at the end last year. And then they lost to Houghton 3-1 last year as well, but did play well in that game against the Highlanders. Like we said, the LBC women's volleyball team will open up NEAC play on Monday and Tuesday as they open up conference action a bit earlier than normal this year. There's very few NEAC weekends. They're mostly individual matches now due to some scheduling changes. So with these games being individual matches, the matches needed to start earlier in the year. LBC defeated Bryn Athyn last year 3-0 here actually at Horace Athletic Center. They played Berks twice last year. They lost to them 3-1 during the crosstown crossover earlier in the year, and then lost 3-2 here at Horace Athletic Center in a tough 5-set match, that match being early in October last year. So we'll see what the Chargers can do as they open up NEAC play and look to get some early conference wins and get the ball rolling there in conference action. The LBC cross-country team is also back in action next week after having this weekend off. They will run in the Penn State Abington Invitational down at Lorimer Park in Pennsylvania down there. The first race there is scheduled to begin at around 8 a.m. So the LBC cross-country team starting to get going, not only with their practices getting a bit tougher, according to head coach Ryan Gaiman, but they're also training for not only the Abington race, but they'll also host a race here on Thursday, September 28th, that part of our homecoming week, which we'll touch on in a future Horse with No Name podcast. Be sure to follow all of next week's home events, if you can, on the Chargers Sports Network, as well as our YouTube page. We'll bring you pregame and postgame quick shows there on our Twitter account. You can search all of our social media at LBC Athletics. The Chargers looking ahead in the middle of September here, and again, gain some more momentum as they head in from the latter parts of their non-conference schedule, specifically for the soccer teams, into conference play. The Chargers soccer teams don't open conference play until some of the final days of September, but both of them are going to open with tough opponents, that being Penn State Berks on Wednesday, September 27th. So both soccer teams looking, about 2.5 weeks away from the start of conference play, but definitely want to get the ball rolling with some solid play. And the head coaches that I've talked to after the games seem pretty confident the teams are starting to do that or will be able to do that by the end of September. Like I said, you can reach us on social media, that being Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, by searching at LBC Athletics. I want to again thank our presenting sponsor, Sight and Sound Theaters. We appreciate all they do here at Lancaster Bible. If you haven't seen a show, it should definitely be on your to-do list next time you're in Lancaster. Hope you enjoy the weekend. I know the LBC Athletic Department will. This is our last official off weekend until right around Christmas. So we're very excited to start the weekend here as our freshman and first-year students head on their departmental retreats for the weekend. Many of us today are taking part in the NCCA golf tournament being held at Media Heights Golf Club here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A great time for fellowship and just to hang out with some people from the NCCAA. Their offices are in Greenville, South Carolina, so we don't get to see them very often. So it's a great day for a lot of the local NCCA schools, Cairn, Valley Forge, LBC, to get together with friends of all of the colleges and play around the golf. And it's 70 and beautiful here in Lancaster today, so we're looking forward to a fun day there at Media Heights. So hope everyone enjoys the weekend. Thanks for watching the Horse with No Name podcast. We'll see you next week. Go Chargers, go!